Welcome to the Space Limited Accomplishments Interval. I am Lance Ash, and I'm joined as usual by my wife Bonnie.
Hello.
And we're taking a little detour before we head to work. We're going to drop off the water bill. What does a average water bill run now?
40 to 50 bucks.
See, many years ago, when I was 15 years old, my first job was to read water meters for this city that we live in. City, more like a rural hamlet. But anyway, I got paid $50 a month to do this, and back then, the flat rate was $5 a month, and if you went over a certain amount, it was like, I don't know how much, but it wasn't, never did somebody get a $40 bill. So, things have changed a lot.
Actually less now that our daughter's moved out.
Yeah. And, so my mother would let me borrow her car, and I would drive around. So I couldn't officially drive yet, but they let me drive because I was doing the Lord's work. And I didn't just read the meters. I also dropped off the bills. And the famous story is these one people.
This one person?
Everybody had a certain arrangement where the bill was to be placed. I couldn't put it in the mailbox legally, so I had to either tuck it into the door, or some people. There was one household. They kept a little resealable dish inside the water meter, and they would leave the check in the container, and I would put the next bill into it, so everybody knew in advance how much their bill was going to be. What's wrong?
Something's off about the car. Yeah. I gotta take the car out.
What do you mean something's off about the car?
The transmission's off. Something's off about the transmission. One more damn thing, right?
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, the famous story was these people had a dog sleeping on the back porch where I was supposed to put the bill, and it was I was afraid to wake it up, so I folded the bill into an airplane and flew it over the dog's body to land on the welcome mat. All right, Bonnie is dropping the water payment off in the little drop box. She's getting out of the car now. The car is about to explode. All right. So what do you think of the new City Hall they're building?
Better than the last one.
I still miss the old gymnasium they tore down. I have a lot of memories of that place. That was essentially the old gymnasium, I think dated to the 30s or 40s or something. And that was basically the community center. It was creepy. Okay. We've turned the air off so we can listen to the transmission more thoroughly. Okay, let's think. What happened over the, Oh, we're listening. I don't hear anything.
I don't either. I'm wondering if the air conditioning was draining the energy from it.
I doubt that, but
Not for the transmission, for the power.
well, obviously it was draining power. Yeah.
That would cause a sluggish response.
Okay.
This type of car it might be thought of as a potential.
There's a bunch of clothes on the side of the road. Did you see all that?
Saw it earlier when I came by.
This is this place finally for sale? It must be the
it's
land.
Over $1 million.
That includes this, the house.
This right here.
Okay.
It's been for sale for quite a
There's
while.
this like old plantation type house on the corner here that's been here, well, I guess over 100 years. But I can guarantee you that when they sell it, it'll be turned into a realtor's office or a lawyer's office or something stupid. Somewhere around here is, I think it's associated with one of these pick your own blueberries places. And when I was about 6 years old, 6, 7, somewhere in there, maybe 5 even, 4 even, doubtful it was earlier than that, but we went there and it was like the house of the people who ran the place was on one side and some greenhouses or something are on the other side of this little driveway. And I remember going in there and there's something about the house that had one of these post-hippie feels that I liked. Anyway, there was a lump of fool's gold by the front door, and the woman who lived there made a point of pointing it out to me. Had high ceilings. But anyway, let's talk about what happened over the weekend. Okay, Bonnie, can you think of anything that happened?
You had an appointment, and Peter had an appointment at the end of last week. Peter's being tested for celiac disease. Jesus Christ.
That's where you can't eat
Gluten.
You can't eat gluten.
Yeah, that cannot happen because we're a bread baking family.
He will just have to forego eating your homemade bread.
That's if he has it. It's just he ticks all the boxes for it. Just wait for the results.
Meanwhile, I had to go to my nurse practitioner, who is a neurologist nurse practitioner, and apparently, it's just continue to monitor the situation.
You go back in 3 weeks.
Right. For more blood work.
And a meeting with her, apparently. That's what they said when I called.
I don't see much to. There won't be much to meet about.
But it's also the same day that you have an appointment with your endocrinologist.
Right. The endocrinologist that I've been seeing for 20 years finally retired, and I really liked him. So I guess he figured he was old enough. He'd been wanting to retire for a year or two, and they begged him to stay, and he stayed. But finally he had enough, and he retired. Okay, so he sold his practice to this other guy. So about a year ago, I guess, or 6 months or whatever, I went to see this guy. Never seen him before. And I'm waiting in the little examining room, and he comes in, and he's older than than my last endocrinologist. And I'm like, why would you buy a practice like this late in life? And my previous guy was very meticulous. He'd listen to you breathe, and he'd feel your neck glands or whatever, and say, swallow while I press on your neck, and all this stuff. And this guy didn't do anything. He's just like, you're looking good. Okay, I'm going to go off now and do something else. Anyway, so I changed my aerobics routine. It's getting to where I don't want to go back to the old house and do my workout because it's just falling apart. And the only reason we keep it is because it's my storage area for my old paintings, and they're getting mold on them, and I got vegetation growing into the place through the window seams or whatever, and it's a mess, and I don't want to go over there. And there's mice and lizards and roaches everywhere. So I started doing aerobics at my new studio at the house. And this coming weekend, I'm going to be changing how I do my weights routine. I want to point out I'm not a jock and I'm not a sports person. I work out so that I'll maintain some level of flexibility and mobility as I enter my twilight years. Okay, so what's up now?
What was the question?
What you looked concerned. What's
I'm just monitoring the car. That's all.
Okay,
I feel through my feet when I drive.
that's interesting because I feel through the steering wheel when I drive. I'm trying to think what else happened this weekend.
I dealt with the food bank.
Oh, yes, right. Bonnie is basically the person who runs the. You know how you have these little libraries dotted across little free libraries dotted across the countryside? Well, Bonnie started a free food pantry thing, utilizing those little boxes.
No.
No?
No. We have a completely separate.
They have
bank.
completely separate little.
Front porch.
Okay.
It's the front porch.
Oh, this isn't around the county. This is just the one up the street from where we live.
Yeah. It's the I do the books for the little libraries, but this is the food pantry.
Okay. Well, anyway.
There, and I had to restock and reorganize, and some asshole has stolen the containers that we were using for boxed and bagged goods. And without those boxes, those sealed containers, the boxes and the bags get compromised by the weather and mice and, as I discovered today, lizards. So we're having to change it to cans and bottles, jars only, unfortunately.
Okay. Bonnie has a what's that word for not an activist streak, but a what's the word I'm looking for? A volunteerist streak, but there's another word for it.
Caring about others?
No, not that.
Giving a damn? Empathy? What
No,
do you mean?
like volunteerist, but you know, there's a certain kind of word for it. Not humanitarian. Look at this idiot beside us with this truck. It's a Raptor. That
I just don't get it. The man could buy a small little blue pill and take care of his problems instead of buying a $40,000 truck.
you know that trope of it being a substitute for erectile dysfunction problems.
Pretty true. That and small penises.
I think it's more identification with a certain aesthetic, like, you know, I'm an American and I'm a man and I'm Southern and all this shit.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think it more has to do with masculinity issues. He feels emasculated or somehow or another less of a man, so he has this stand-in. I mean, this.
I think-
we've always thought this
I
middle-aged
think-
guys in sports cars.
I think, but see, these are younger guys.
They want to bully people around.
That's part of it. I do agree, but
And they also have problems with women.
well.
A lot of problems.
What I was going to say is, when I was a kid, that type of truck, the seating arrangement was called a king cab. Well, now it's gotten to be with the king cab, the back seat is as big as a regular seat. When, 30 years ago, it was just like a little extra seat added,
But it's more than that. It's the stupid jacked up wheels and all the add-ons, and God help us, the stupid ultra bright halogen and LED lights and light panels. It's just stuff to piss people off and bully people.
Yeah, it's also
Their behavior on the road, that's what they are. They're bullies.
yeah, it's also a certain showboat inclination. I don't know. I mean,
It's redneck too. Redneck is
they claim to identify with their grandparents or great-grandparents, but those people from the past would have never driven around in a car with a great big decal on the side that said Raptor, and all the shit that they add on. And they certainly wouldn't have identified with a supposed billionaire to the point of plastering his name all over their clothing and their vehicle.
Trumpsters. Trumpanzees, as they're called.
Yeah, I don't want to get too political, but this is supposed to be our lighthearted fun.
But we live live in America and we're led by an absolute idiot. The entire
Well,
world
yeah.
is laughing at this point.
Well, there's also the argument to be made that we are moving into a reality show reality.
Oh, we're already there.
Yeah. Where the entire planet is caught up in a technological wonderland where everybody's business is available for everybody else to consume as entertainment. Let me check how many minutes we got here. Oh, wow. We only got 4 minutes to go, essentially. So let's get down to some substantial conversational... well, I don't know. I'm trying to think. As soon as I turn the damn recorder off, we'll start talking normally, and it'll be more interesting. We ought to hire a guy to sit in the back seat and record the interesting bits.
Or you can just let it run and edit it later.
I don't have editing software, as I've pointed out before.
You do. You just don't know how to use it. Luddite.
A Luddite would be someone who smashes the new technology. You're talking about an ignoramus. Lazy ignoramus is more the word you're looking for.
Old dog, new tricks.
Uh-huh. One thing we've been doing lately is looking at illustrations from children's books, which I find very, I don't know, inspiring and soothing at the same time.
Oh, one of the books I had at the little library today had this beautiful old illustrations. I thought I'd bring it home to you, but then I realized the kids need it more than you, and we don't need anything else in that damn house.
That's right. We're approaching the point where we're going to have to start getting rid of stuff.
Purging.
Yeah, we've got too much stuff in the house. With all the new rearranging I'm doing in the my new studio at the house, I'm running out of room. So
we have so much stuff. It's like we could fill up a house twice the size, 4,500 square feet. We have so much stuff, too much stuff.
Well, this weekend I said to Bonnie that we were poverty stricken, and she said, "No, we're just broke."
That's a big difference.
But for poor people, we live pretty high on the hog.
Like damn LS Kings.
We don't know what real poverty is like.
Not yet, but we might.
The closest that I've ever come to experiencing real hunger was when I lived in this apartment close to downtown. And I remember getting up, I was living with, I think that was when I was living with these two girls. You live with two girls? Yeah, back in 78 that would have been a huge deal, but back in 1990 it wasn't. Anyway, and I remember getting up in the middle of the night and I was like, I'm really hungry, and I stole some of their, what was that stuff called? It was like an instant oatmeal package, and it came with a little packet of jelly that you're supposed to swirl on the top.
Ew.
Yeah. I remember my friend Richard was living next door, in the apartment next door, and he came over and watched me microwaving this stuff.
Wait, Richard lived with Bob?
Yeah. When I first left my parents in a huff, I spent like a week living with them.
Oh my God. Who was Bob living with when I was around him?
He lived with, no last names here, okay? But he lived with a Craig. Remember? Creep.
He lived with Jean-Claude?
Yeah, he lived with Jean-Claude, but he also...
Did he live with Alex?
Yes, he lived with Alex, but he also lived with this guy named Kyle that I never met.
I don't remember who he was living with.
He caught Kyle masturbating naked in the living room, and and anyway...
I never heard that story.
But anyway, so Richard watched me make this goop, and I just squirted the jelly on top, or whatever it was, and he said, "You didn't swirl it," like on the commercial.
Oh, no.
And anyway, that's how close I came to actual hunger. I probably weighed 40 to 50 pounds less than I do now. Not that I'm fat. You can look on
Whereas I've been hungry in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, we've reached 20 minutes. The conversation is artificially at an end. We'll continue talking. You'll just have to imagine what we say. So thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.